We are.
Okay, good evening. The planning board is now in session. Going to read the statement for a public body starting a public meeting pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, 18, and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Planning Board is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by going online to https://www.southboroughtown, all one word, .com/remote meetings. So the first item on our agenda tonight is to read the sentence above the word agenda, which is, the purpose of this meeting is for continuance of public hearings, not for deliberation or action on the hearings. So the first item on the agenda is a continued public hearing. We still good?
Yep, we're good.
Continued public hearing, annual town warrant article, amend section 174-10, site plan approval. This public hearing is continued from January 27th, February 10th, February 24th, March 9th, March 23rd, and April 13th. So at this point, it would be appropriate in our meeting to entertain a motion to continue this public hearing. Now, through guidance from town planner and her efforts to work for an appropriate day to continue these hearings, this hearing too, keeping in mind the annual town meeting proposed date and the rules relative to continuing hearings, closing hearings, and warrant articles being preserved up to and including the town meeting, and perhaps beyond the town meeting for another town meeting. So with that, I would recommend that this public hearing and the next two that we'll go into be continued to 7:30. Does that work, Mimi? On May 7th.
Yep.
John, you mean 7?
No, Mimi's got to work until 7.
Okay.
So we'll try 7:30. Does that work for everybody? I know you're all,
That works. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we continue the public hearing for annual town meeting warrant article, amend section 174-10 site plan approval. Continue the public hearing to May 7th at 7:30 PM.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Very good. Continued. Next item on the agenda is a continued public hearing. Annual town meeting warrant article, amend section 174-9 special permit requirements and 174-19 extensions or alterations. This public hearing is continued from January 27th, February 10th, February 24th, March 9th, March 23rd, and April 13th. So as we spoke a few minutes ago about continuing previous public hearing, it would be appropriate to continue this public hearing to the same date. Mr. Mills.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we continue the annual town meeting warrant article, amend section 174-9 special permit requirement, and 174-19 extensions and alterations to May 7th, 2020 at 7:35 PM.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Is there a way to check, did we say 7 o'clock or 7:30? I know we talked about it, but was the motion for,
7:30.
Motion was 7:30.
Okay.
The first one.
that's what we meant anyways.
I have 7:30 down.
Very
Perfect.
good.
And then 7:35.
My notes.
Once Kate says it, that's what it is. That's it.
That's it.
Dawn, I just have one question. I just want Sarah to check. When we first started the meeting and there was a little interruption and Dawn said something, it was because we heard your video is being recorded.
So,
Did it-
yep, so it's going, we're live on YouTube right now, so that's recording, and then there is a double catch recording it internally within Zoom, so it's both.
I just want to make sure that the recording caught Dawn's opening announcement of the provision.
The
Okay.
YouTube recording caught it, yep.
Okay, because it kind of cut into that. Okay. Thanks.
Very good. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing, annual town meeting. Article update section 174-12.1, outdoor illumination. This public hearing is continued from January 27th, February 10th, February 24th, March 9th, March 23rd, and April 13th. So at this point in the meeting, it would be appropriate to entertain a motion to continue this public hearing. Mr. Mills.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we continue the annual town meeting warrant article, update section 174-12.1, outdoor illumination to May 7th, 2020 at 7:40 PM.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Very good. It's continued. We have other business properly before the board, the planners report. You ready, Karina? You're always ready.
Well, I think I am. Couple things. I just wanted to point out, I had sent an email previously outlining some of the important dates regarding making decisions for moving forward on the approach with the planning board meetings. Schools are closed now for the rest of the year till June 16th with in-home learning at home, online learning. The current state of emergency for the state is still on until May 4th. The annual town meeting has been scheduled to Saturday, May 16th at 1 PM at Trottier. I believe on May 5th, the Board of Selectmen are going to be discussing whether that schedule is going to be held or not. Our next meeting now is scheduled for May 7th. So I have my standard question for these meetings, how we are going to, how the planning board intends to proceed with public participation or continuing without deliberation. So just to let you know, Chestnut Hill Farm barn project is still in a holding pattern, which is authorized per the provisions that the governor signed on April 3rd, expanding or relaxing permitting process, staying those times or expanding the timeframes. They are still eagerly awaiting, more so now, to move forward with their application for major site plan and lower impact development. However, I did tell them that those provisions for relaxing the permitting deadlines were in place, and that it's very important for planning board to have full public participation when it comes to applications and discussions where public input is very important. And as you know, site plans tend to have a lot of public participation with the butters departments, depending on what's going on there. So that's important. And I explained that to them. So they're waiting to hear, how the planning board's going to proceed. Then last meeting, I talked about an A&R for 19 Ward Road. We haven't gotten an application for that yet, an official application. They're still working out revisions. So I'm waiting to hear back from them on any revised plans and then eventually a submission. So, and they were looking into perhaps their buyer for their property to take on that role, which could happen at a later date as opposed to them as sellers doing it right now, which is more difficult in these conditions. So that's all I had. Just
Karina, I'll start it off a little bit and see if you want to add to it.
okay.
So we're on May 7th. And as you said, selectmen have a meeting scheduled for May 5th.
Correct.
Mimi, you have a master plan meeting on May 6th, correct?
That's correct.
So May 7th, that's when we're on. So, and then between now and May 7th, Karina has gone through the rules regarding public hearings and continuing, closing, so on. And there's some clarification that's needed. So Karina's going to reach out. She's already reached out to the town clerk and to Mr.
Town
Purple.
council.
And you've reached out to town council, but we missed him today. So anyways, hopefully in the later this week, we'll get some clarification on the rules so that when we learn what the plan is going forward with the town meeting, we'll be able to make an informed decision on May 7th as to what to do with these warrant articles and how to do it properly. Did you want to add anything to that?
I just want to point out that you may recall there was a DHCD guidance document regarding adopting and amending zoning bylaws, which we've been using as kind of our go-to for zoning bylaw amendments. And in that, it talks about timeframes for when action is taken on the planning board public hearings. So when you have, if typically the planning board holds a meeting just prior to the annual town meeting, about an hour before, in order to have some final discussions and maybe some public input to how they're going to support, recommend an article. And it's important because if you don't provide a report to town meeting, which can be written or verbal, as the planning board, if you support or not support an article, if a report isn't given and the hearing is closed, you have to have 21 days after the planning board hearing, public hearing stops, so that the town meeting can vote on that article. So either the planning board has to provide a report to town meeting on the warrant articles as to whether they support or not. If they don't, then there's a 21-day waiting period before it can be voted on town meeting. So the schedule that Dawn and I had reviewed at some point to come to terms administratively with this is that if we have a planning board public hearings for these 3 bylaw changes on the 7th, hopefully by the morning of the 6th, we would know if town meeting was postponed again. And having a meeting on the 7th would allow, the public hearings on the 7th would allow 21 days to May 28th, which would leave, Saturday in June. It would actually leave May 30th, Saturday, June 6th, or Saturday, June 13th, to have a pre-ATM meeting if that's one of the dates that's selected for annual town meeting.
Gives us maximum flexibility.
Right, because this Board of Selectmen cannot extend the town meeting date beyond 30 days based on that they had already had a warrant posted. So the other factor is that an annual town meeting has a 7-day requirement as opposed to a 2-day posting requirement for other boards and committees. So when the original warrant was posted, it had to be at least 7 days before the original town meeting. And when I spoke with Mr. Haggerty today, he said that process continues. So when they rescheduled the town meeting, again, they'll post 7 days prior to that. So the timing is so that we have the public hearings continued to May 7th. 21 days puts us at May 28th. That town meeting will happen after that, most likely, which we'll know better after the Board of Selectmen's next meeting. So we'll be covered either way. 21 days will have lapsed. Therefore, a town meeting can vote on the bylaws. And if the planning board so chooses, they can also report to town meeting on their consensus of approving or not with recommendations for those public hearings. Because if that doesn't happen, then you can't bring those articles back for 2 years to town meeting.
And that allows us to do it on the 16th, if it continues to be that date, May 16th, because we will have met and decided what to
Right.
do on the 7th. And then the following weekend is Memorial Day weekend. It's unlikely that town meeting would be that weekend.
Right.
And then the following weekend is the 30th, which gives us that other option of the 21 days. Kind of complicated, but we're going to try to get it completely cleared up after we huddle with town council.
The goal is
Or
to
anything-
keep the options open so that
Right.
everything's done properly and so that there's a full advantage to, maybe have a last meeting before the ATM itself.
Any questions, comments? Next item on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2020 as written.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Very good.
Mr.
We
Chairman,
also
make a
have the
motion-
meeting minutes of April 13th. Mr. Mills,
Make a motion, we accept the meeting minutes from April 13th, 2020 as written.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
So that takes care of that. The next item on the agenda is our next meeting. which
Actually,
according-
Dawn, is there an opportunity to approve and format the executive session minutes from March 9th? Did everybody have a chance to look at those?
I did.
I
I did.
received,
So there would then be a motion to accept the format of those executive session meeting minutes.
Jesse, did you say you had a chance to review?
I did.
Oh, okay, I thought you said you didn't.
For March 7th,
March
March
9th.
Mr. Mills,
make a motion, we accept or approve the format for the executive session meeting minutes for March 9th as proposed.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
And again,
Any
that's
other-
not for release. That's just for format.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Morris, yes.
Mills, yes.
Stein, yes.
Latrell, yes.
Houlihan, yes.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
Kate.
job, Sarah.
My pleasure.
Great job.
Okay,
Okay.
great meeting minutes.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Nice to meet
Karina.
everybody.
You're welcome.
Okay. See you
Call if you
later.
have questions.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.